Alrighty, y'all. So, out here getting the cardio done. It's nice, like 71 right now. A little overcast-ish, but for the most part, it's clearing up. And then humidity a little high today. It's in the mid 70s. So, but not too bad right now. So yesterday we did shoulders, and man, they are sore. But that is a good thing. Not that soreness is a direct telltale of growth, but it is at least a telltale of effectively stimulating the muscle. So, that is what we are sure of. But today we have back. So that means deadlifts. We'll see how that goes today. My back feels a little stiff. Kinda slept a little funky. The dog decided it wanted to stick its legs underneath me again last night. So every time she does that, my back's all jacked up for like 2 days. But we'll see if we can get it loosened up and get some nice heavy deadlifts pulled today. Because I would like to pull heavy today. But we'll see what 365 feels like. If that goes nice and smooth, then we'll go ahead and make a 5-pound jump to 415 today. If it doesn't, then we'll just stay at 365 for a few pulls and go ahead and move on. So that is the weight I use as like, okay, we've worked up to this point. If we pull this and it's solid, we go. If we pull this and it's slow and it just feels extra heavy, then we don't move up. So I kind of do the same with my bench press as well. 225, basically my we'll call it the feel out weight. So depending upon how that feels is what changes the top set of my compound lifts. It's not every day you're going to pull or press at 100%. So you got to be able to judge on which days you're feeling strong and what days you just are a little bit lacking in whether it's energy or your muscles are just fatigued and tired, central nervous system's worn out, hasn't recovered, things like that. So, oh man, but I feel freaking, it's weird. I'm not quite exhausted, not quite tired, but definitely like a combination of the two. I feel a little fatigued this morning, but I think it's just because I haven't eaten yet. I haven't really drinking any water or anything yet, so I'll go in, we'll eat, get today's video edited, do some more schoolwork, and then I'll see you guys when I head out to the gym for back. Alright, y'all, so it's back day. That obviously means deadlifts, and we are out here now to get those done. Well, we've gone through our warm-up sets for the most part. We 135, 185, 225, 275, 315. Now I've got 365 on the bar, and this is our rep that we use to judge whether or not we're going to shoot for that 415 today, or if we're going to stay at 365 and just pull a few couple small sets just at 365 to work the back, and then shoot for 415 next back day. So let's go ahead and pull this and see how it feels. So it feels good, but definitely not strong enough for a 415 attempt. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this for like 3x3 just to get some volume in today at a weight, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the rest of back day. So fortunately, we won't be shooting for 415 today, but just the way that feels, it feels a little heavy, but not to where like I couldn't move up. Like I could probably pull like 395, maybe 400 today, but getting 405 to 415 doesn't feel viable today. I would like to, but I do, especially for deadlifts, I very much try to listen to the way my body's pulling per se, because obviously this exercise can injure you greatly, and we don't want that. Back injuries suck. So learned that the hard way a very, very, very long time ago from doing deadlifts, not from per se trying to pull the most weight, but I had a buddy who bet me I couldn't pull 315 pounds for a set of 20 at that time, and I told him bullshit. I can pull 315 for a set of 20, and like rep 13, 14, I was starting to get tired, so I kind of started letting the weight slam into the ground and pull off the bounce to get that little extra momentum going. And on the very last rep 19, let it drop into the ground and went to pull for rep 20, but didn't pull into it fast enough, so the weight kind of bounced up and was like falling back down. And so I caught 315 pounds falling while trying to drive against it, and did some bad things. So that took like 3.5, 4 months to recover from, and now I make sure I don't do dumb shit when I deadlift. So, because that is not a type of pain I want to live with again. So, I'm going to get these sets knocked out, and then I'll bring you guys. Now we're on to barbell shrugs. We've been doing incline shrugs. Today, I'm just going to do a traditional barbell shrug. Throw in a little variance. That's just kind of what I feel like doing. I like to try to hit the traps from a few different angles. Since I am trying to get them to grow, I don't want to consistently do the same movement over and over, but you've got to do a movement long enough to where you have like some time of progression within it. So, but we're going to shoot for 5 sets of 15 still. This is now 185 pounds instead of 135, which we've been doing the incline style at. So we'll see how the traps feel about this today. Shouldn't be too aggressive on them. But let's go ahead and get it going. Actually doesn't feel too bad. So I like the weight. It is definitely going to be hard by the time I get to the 5th set. But that first set, smooth, controlled, solid. Doesn't feel overly heavy at all, which is great. Probably feels fairly light because we just pulled 365 for 3x3. So when you go to half of the weight, you know, I'm sure it's that's also going to give you a nice little placebo effect. So I'm going to knock out my next 4 sets of these. That'll bring you guys back online. We're done with barbell shrugs. Definitely feeling toast. I must have slept really bad last night. But other than that, we're going to keep pushing along here and getting it done. But I am out of energy. And I even double scooped the pre today. So I think tomorrow might end up having to be a rest day. But we will see. I don't quite really want to take one yet. We are 15 days in past having a rest day, so might need one after going 90 and then having only one. I do want to start having some more rest days added in, but I don't really feel like I should have to take one again yet. I was kind of hoping to get to like the 30-day mark and do like 1 day every 30 days, but I don't know. We'll see how the body feels tomorrow. Tomorrow's arms as well, so it's not like it's a heavy day coming up tomorrow. So if anything, we'll do arms. If it's another bad workout, we'll go ahead and we'll take a rest day and then come back fresh to hit legs. But for now, let's move on to incline rows here with the cables. We've been doing these at 70 pounds, but I want to go ahead and see if I could hit them at 80 pounds today. These are only for 5 sets of 8. So I do want to start getting the weight bumped up on these. So that way we can get a little more load and stimulus. So that first set there at 80 pounds feels awesome. If I get through the next 4 sets and it still feels like that, I'm going to make a little note to go ahead and try 90 pounds next back day. Because that just feels a little too simple. So, but the lats are definitely getting much stronger. I can see it in the mirror too that they're becoming a little wider, a little more defined. So we're making progress there. But it all comes in time. We can't rush too fast and we can't expect changes too quickly. Setting goals that are unattainable, is a big issue. If you think you're going to lose a bunch of weight really fast, you're not. Get that idea out of your head. If you think you're going to put on a lot of muscle really fast, you're not. Get it out of your head. If you think you're going to put on a bunch of strength really, really fast, you're not. Get that out of your head. All this stuff takes time. If you can, go ahead and say fat loss wise, if you could lose a half a pound to 1 pound of weight per week, that's great progress. Take that little goal. Every single month, that's going to be 2 to 4 pounds. If you lose more, great. But that's the window you should try to shoot in, because that means if you lose a pound a week, that's 500 calories a day that you're in a deficit of. And if you're doing it with just diet, which is possible, that's awesome. So if you do 500 calories in your diet per day, and say you do 500 calories worth of exercise per day, that'll put you in a 1,000 calorie deficit and you'll lose 2 pounds a week. But you're going to feel extremely hungry. It's going to be really hard to curb those hunger cravings and so on. So I don't really recommend trying to drop 2 pounds a week or 8 pounds a month. It's incredibly aggressive and hard to maintain in the long term. Because if you're doing something like that, you're going to get maybe 2-3 months into it. If you get that far and you know you're going to drop 16 to 24 pounds, but you're going to end up breaking. You're going to go through a little refeed, and then it's going to be really hard to get back to your diet because you're enjoying eating again, and you're probably going to lose half of that progress. But if you say only lose 9 to 12 pounds inside of that same period of time, so half to a pound a week, you know, you're going to put yourself at a sustainable pace. So the hunger's not going to be so bad, the urges aren't going to be so bad, you're not going to be so tired and depleted all the time. It's going to be a lot easier to stay at that state for longer. So say you can only get to 3 months aggressively dieting and exercising, or you could get through an entire year at just, a pound a week. So that's going to put you at, 52 pounds in a year versus getting to, 16 to 24 pounds and then breaking and possibly not even getting to your goal at all. So if you break it down over a year's length of time, 50 pounds is a lot of freaking weight. So, especially if it's all fat. Because if you are exercising at that same time, say you're doing 250 calories of exercise, 250 calories of a deficit for your diet, it's 500 calories a day. It's a pound a week. But because you're weight training, you're putting on more and more muscle. So now you're going to get a little bit stronger during that time. You're going to get a little bit leaner. And the weight on the scale may not go down as fast as you think it should, because you're also putting on muscle tissue. But the more muscle tissue you get to put on, the more calories you burn just existing. So now, like say your diet starts at 2,000 calories and then has you in a 250 calorie deficit. But here in 4 months, that 2,000 calories, because you've put on more muscle, just being static, you might end up at like 350 calorie deficit from calories if you're still only eating 2,000 because you've put on more muscle. So you're burning more calories just existing, but you didn't have to decrease the amount of food you ate again to continue with that as your body weight goes down. Because if you're not putting on muscle and you're just losing a bunch of fat from not eating, and say you're just doing a bunch of cardio, so you're not putting on any real muscle, you're going to have to decrease your calories with that to stay inside that caloric deficit. And you're going to reach a point to where that's just unattainable, and then you're going to plateau and you're going to get stuck. And then you're going to have to eat. And then you're going to put a bunch of weight back on, and you're going to lose a bunch of progress because you're only taking account for one part of being healthy and fit. Yeah, you got to lose that fat, but you also have to have enough muscle tissue on your body to maintain a healthy metabolism to where you're not starving yourself to death, and also to keep your overall skeleton healthy. Because if you have no muscle tissue, you're a lot more prone to injuries, you're a lot more prone to sicknesses, your immune system's going to go in the gutter if you're in a deficit for way too long, just because of the amount of stress you're putting on your body. And it definitely affects your immune system. It affects if you're a man, your testosterone levels and your hormone levels overall, if you're a man or female, to be in a big deficit for a very long time. So, don't try to make too much progress too fast. And then that goes with strength too, you know? When you're trying to get stronger, if you can put on a big lift, your compound lift, your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, if you add, say, 5 pounds, at first, 5 pounds every 2 weeks, probably going to be pretty reasonable for a beginner and amateur fitness level of fitness. But once you get into that like intermediate and going into advanced, 5 pounds a month, that's still amazing. And then when you get into like that advanced, going into like elite lifter, man, if you could do 5 pounds in like a month or every 6 months added on your compound lifts, that's amazing. That's big progress. So there's some people that struggle to add 5 pounds to a lift in 6 months to a year once you're at that high of a level. So you got to remember, your body's only going to be able to put on so much muscle tissue and so much strength and run so fast and everything at a natural level. That's all going to depend upon your genetics, how efficient you are at working at those goals, how efficient you are at dieting, and how efficient you are at your recovery and your sleep. So if any of those are lacking, everything else suffers. So some days, you know, you're just not going to perform well. Today, I'm not performing well again. I have felt super exhausted since I woke up this morning. Back's a little tight because the dog put her freaking arms underneath my back and I kind of slept like crap. Like the sleep felt good. Like I didn't feel like I slept bad, but I definitely did not recover and rest while I was asleep. So that comes into play, and you're going to have days where you're just going to suffer. And on those days, it's just like the rest of everything we've talked about with the diet and exercise and everything else. If you decide one day you're just not feeling it, but you just try to push through it anyways, that's not good. You got to listen to your body. You got to let it recover. Because if you're just pushing, you're just going to hurt yourself and set yourself back. Just like the fact I really don't want to take recovery days, but my body is telling me you probably need one. So again, we'll see how I feel tomorrow with arms, not being a big heavy compound day, and see what happens. But if tomorrow's exercise on a light, non-taxing day still feels like crap, it's time for a rest day. So that's don't set your goals so aggressively that it's impossible to reach, because then you're just going to demoralize yourself. And like your goals for fitness and health, they always need to be able to be, shifted around some. You can't go, I'm going to go run, a full marathon if you haven't even ran a 5K yet. So everything is just little baby steps, and the consistency over time is where it's going to lead you to your end result. So keep that in mind. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and knock out my next 4 sets of these, and then I'll bring you guys back for the next movement. We're done with those incline rows. Now we're going to go ahead and move into a wide grip seated row. We've been doing these close grip for quite some time now. I want to give it a little more variation like we were just talking about. Target the back slightly different. This is definitely going to probably incorporate a lot more trap along with lats and some rear delts versus a lot of inner trap, rear delt, and lat. So let's go ahead and hit these guys here. So, I think the next set, I'm going to move a little wider on my hands. And I think I'm going to bounce in between being here and here. It will target the back slightly different each time, because it's going to change the correlation of where your elbows are kind of going to land for how far you can pull it back. So obviously the deeper you get down on these grips, the more range you're going to get, because your chest is going to hit this bar a lot later. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and knock out my next 4 sets, and then I'll bring you guys back for lat pull downs. We have wide grip seated rows. We're going to go ahead and do close grip pull downs. So again, just adding in some variation, giving it a little change up today. Let's go ahead and hit these things. Man, oh man, those feel pretty good, but I am pooped. So, we went through our deadlifts, then we did our shrugs, then we did an incline row, a seated row, and a lat pull down. So, I feel very effective at hitting we'll say 85% of the back with the variations we've done today. So you're never probably going to hit 100% unless you're to do, 12 different freaking exercises, but your effort that you're going to be able to put into them isn't going to be enough to stimulate every single muscle fiber. But if you're able to hit a majority of the back muscle, even if it's not the most effective ways of hitting it, you're still going to make progress over time if you're bringing in some fatigue. So, and everyone's body kind of reacts slightly different to each exercise and the goals into which they're trying to reach with each movement. So, just, get in there. Get something done. Back, you can't really mess up. If you're pulling from anywhere out here and you're bringing your hand to your body, you're going to effectively hit a part of your back, no matter what. So it is pretty hard to mess up a back day. But with that, make sure you guys are out there. You're getting your work done. You're working towards your goals. Most of all, don't be a lazy fuck.